And welcome back to the Mango Grove, everybody. My name is Krisha, and well, in today's video, we are finally going to be putting on a margin trade on the Binance exchange. Now, in my last video, I spoke to you about all the miscellaneous things that I figured you should know before actually, putting on a trade on Binance's margin interface. So yeah, we've gone over that, and just for a super quick recap, this is what I'm talking about. So I essentially spoke to you guys about the fees, right? I also spoke to you guys about the margin level. This, by the way, right here is the margin level. Now, as soon as you navigate onto your margin wallet, you will see this meter right here on the right-hand side. And this number here, the 999, that is your margin level. Now, note that I do not have any trade on right now on this exchange, on this account, sorry. This account is completely empty. This margin account is empty. I do not have anything on here, and that's why this margin level is 999. Now, that's going to be your status quo margin level as soon as you create your account. That is the number that you're going to see there, so that's completely fine, okay? So yeah, we are going to kind of step into this assuming that we have nothing on the account. So what is our first step, guys? What is our first step? We transfer funds into our margin account. We need margin to put on a trade, so let's go ahead and, well, transfer a bit of margin. By the way, for those of you who have not yet opened up your Binance margin trading account, I will include links to the other videos in the description below where I show you how to open up your account as well as how to transfer funds. Okay, now I go over all of that. There are 3 videos. I have tried to keep them short, so hopefully that helps. Links in the description. Cool. So let's go ahead and transfer a bit of BTC. Okay, now we need margin. I have the only crypto that I have on my main wallet right now is BTC. So that's all I can put up as margin. So let's go ahead and do that. I have my exchange wallet here. I got my margin wallet here. This is my demonstration account, so I'm not going to put too much. I don't have too much on this account. So let's just go ahead and put in 0.01. Cool. Confirm transfer. Exchange to margin. Cool. And there we go. Now I have confirmed that transfer, and as soon as you do so, whatever you decide to put up as margin, now you don't have to put up BTC like me. I put up BTC. You can put up any of these cryptocurrencies as margin into your margin trading account, okay? It does not have to be BTC. But I only had BTC, so I put up BTC as margin. Cool. So if you notice, I put in 0.01 BTC, which is about, I don't know, roughly $100, give or take. Anyways, and you'll notice that my transfer has now reflected in my margin wallet. My BTC balance has jumped from 0 to 0.01, essentially what I put up as margin. Okay, so now that's that. Now notice that I can borrow and trade. Okay, now we already transferred. That was our deposit into the account. Now I can borrow or trade. But guys, I do not want to borrow here. Okay, why? Because as soon as I borrow from just this interface right here, okay, I am immediately, like, my interest starts building that very moment I borrow. And remember from our previous video, that miscellaneous video, interest builds every hour. Okay, every hour. Now, if I'm not putting on a trade right now, I'm not going to borrow right now. I'm not going to incur interest over something I'm not using. Okay, so the way I think of this is that I'm only going to borrow funds if I am putting on a trade in that very moment. Now, this is where it gets a bit, like, why did Binance do this? I'm not going to get into that, but this is the way I do it. I do not borrow from this interface. I will actually go on to the margin trading exchange. So, okay, this will take you to your margin exchange. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, the first trade that I'm going to put on for you guys, I'm going to put on a long. Okay, I'm going to put on a long, and notice that this exchange, there's a lot going on over here. The thing with Binance is that it has a lot of features. Okay, now there are many things that you can do on Binance, including buy spot, something you cannot do on most margin trading exchanges. So this is how we do it. We are only here for margin trading. So I want you to focus on this right-hand side box right here. So you'll notice that the top tabs, you got a star, which is your favorites, your M, margin trading pairs, BNB pairs, BTC pairs, all pairs, and USD pairs. Okay, now we are only, notice how the M is already highlighted. Now that is your default selection. Why? Because you have selected the margin trading exchange. Now everything in that list, everything on that list, that M list, okay, are all the pairs that you can trade on margin. That is each and every single pair that you can trade on margin. So be careful, guys. You want to make sure that you're picking a pair from that list. Okay, because the other lists that we have over here, the BNB list, the BTC list, the altcoin list, yeah, I mean, they have a lot of pairs. Some of those pairs you may be able to trade on margin. However, some you may not be able to trade on margin. Okay, so that make sure that when you are picking your pair, you're picking it from that M list. Okay, because those are the only pairs that you can trade on margin. Cool. So now that that has been established, I'm going to go ahead, like I said, the first trade that I want to put on, I'm going to put on a long trade in this video. Let's go ahead and pick BAT BTC. I see that it's had a bit of a pump already. Has it? Okay, yeah, it has. Damn. But yeah, just for the purpose of this demonstration, let's go ahead and pick BAT BTC. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you're on that margin tab, okay, guys? It's important that you're on the margin tab. To trade using margin, you need to be on Binance's margin exchange. So make sure that is selected. Now, the next thing is, well, do you want to place a limit order or do you want to place a market order? Now, I'm going to go ahead. Mine's going to be a market order because, well, this is a demonstration. Let's just do this quick time so you know exactly how to go about this. And now notice on my mode, I have borrow selected. Okay, now I have that borrow selected because I want to borrow in real time. As soon as I put on my trade, I want that borrow to happen simultaneously. I don't want to first borrow, then think of my trade, and then put it on. Because in that time, I am paying interest to Binance. Now, if I'm not using the funds that I borrowed, I don't want to be paying interest. That's money, that's cost to me. What the hell? Why should I do that? So I want to make sure that I'm borrowing real time, and I'm going to make sure that tab is selected. Okay? For now, I only have my initial margin on my account. I don't have anything else, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have that borrow selected. And I'm going to put on our 415 that position size. And I think that's a decent position size for the amount of margin I have in my account. So I'm going to go ahead and hit margin by BAT, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, hit margin by BAT, and then immediately it follows up with this pop-up. It says order confirmation. The order will use 0.009 in your margin account and will also borrow, okay, it will also borrow 0.002 BTC on your behalf to buy 415 BAT. The loan will have interest. So you have this pop-up telling you exactly what's going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit confirm. And there we go. I have 415 BAT now on my account. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and go to our wallet because this is what I want to bring to your attention. Now, if you go onto your margin wallet, okay, so top right hand side corner, you'll see that wallet drop down. Go onto your margin wallet, hit that. There we go. What is our margin level now? My margin level over here, based on the margin I have in my account, based on how much I have borrowed from the exchange, my margin level is 4.95. Okay, now what is that? Do you remember from our last video? That's my total portfolio value, my total margin account portfolio value, divided by how much I owe back to the exchange. So right now what it's telling me is that, hey, you have enough, okay, for yourself, basically what margin you put up, plus to pay the exchange back. So I am in safe zone. As long as I'm in this green box or over, I'm in safe zone. As soon as I hit 1.3, I get a margin call. As soon as I hit 1.1, I get liquidated. This is good enough of a margin level to have. Brilliant. So notice my BTC value now, guys. Now, because I had executed a trade on BAT, it took a bunch of my initial margin, right, to execute the trade. Plus, now this is the borrowed column right here. This is how much I borrowed from the exchange. Okay, this is how much I borrowed from the exchange. And now this is the interest. This is the interest right here. Okay, for the BTC that I borrowed. Now, the thing is that this interest builds every hour. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So now this is my total equity, okay? This is the amount of BAT now I have in my BAT balance. That's how much we executed the trade for, 415 plus fees. The rest went into fees. But yeah, this is what your wallet is going to look like. You're going to see your margin level change here. Remember, it was 999 when we started. Okay, it's 4.95 now because of the trade that we just took. So these are things to note. So now let's go back into our exchange. Okay, go back to that margin exchange. And now let's close our position. Okay, now am I on the BAT trade? No, I'm on BTC USDT. let's go on to BAT BTC. Make sure you always have the right pair selected, okay? That these are just small things, but still always keep an eye out on everything. There are some small details that you may miss, and you may, mis-execute your trade. You don't want to be doing that. So now, essentially, what we're going to be doing in this step, we're going to close out our BAT position. Okay, now, but the way I want to do it, I want to close the position, but while closing the position, I simultaneously want to settle it with the exchange. So I basically want to pay them back what I owe them, plus whatever interest I owe them. Okay, that way there's no extra step for me. I don't want to have to go through any of the other additional steps, because what if something comes up and for whatever reason I forget? What if I have multiple trades on and I forget? Okay, so that means I'm still incurring that interest at the back. Like, you don't want to be paying for nothing, okay? You do not want to be incurring interest at the back. So I always want to make sure that I'm paying back what I borrowed from them. So what I'm going to end up doing over here is while selling my BAT, I'm going to hit that repay tab. And what repay essentially means, now if you just go onto that exclamation mark near the mode and look at the repay description, the repay mode description, it says the coin you get after the trade will be automatically used to repay the debt of the same coin in your margin account. So what is the coin that we get after we execute this trade? We get BTC back, right? We're on the BAT BTC pairing. So the BTC that we get back will be used to repay the debt of the same coin in your margin account. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit that repay button that's been selected, and I'm going to say 100%, that's 414, and I just want to make sure that I have the right number there, okay, because there are a lot of decimals that we're dealing with when it comes to actually setting our bids in. So all I do is I just hit that price button, right? I'll hit that price box, and I'll look at the dollar value that's popped up right on top there, and I just want to match it to this dollar value right here. That way I get a good sort of I get a good idea, is this the right number or not, depending on the decimals. So it's at 0.25, good to go. I got the right amount of decimals in there. Okay, so I'm going to say 100%, and I'm going to say sell that. Okay, now you get this pop-up confirmation. It says the BTC you get will be used to repay the BTC debt in your margin account. Interest will be repaid first. Okay, so I'm going to say confirm. There we go. We just got filled on our BAT sell order. Okay, we took a bit of a loss, but that's fine. Okay, so let's go back onto our margin wallet. So if you go back onto the margin wallet, you'll notice that now your margin level is back to 999. Now, why is that? Now, if you go onto your BTC, so now, guys, we have no more BAT left, okay? We have like this little bit of dust left. If you want, you can transfer the dust onto your main exchange. So if I just hit transfer, and I'm just going to say a margin wallet to exchange wallet, and I'm going to say do the entire thing, transfer the entire dust amount, confirm transfer, that turns to 0. It goes to your main account. Now, in your main account, you can take your dust, you can transfer it into BNB. I'm sure some of you know that, but we're not going to go ahead and discuss too much of that in this video. It's just cool things that you can do on Binance. It makes it super easy. But yeah, now we took a bit of a loss on our BTC on our trade, but that's okay. This is for demonstration purposes. And yeah, so notice that now your total balance, okay, this is my balance, this is my available balance, and now notice that what I borrowed has turned to 0. Okay, so it just got settled. As soon as I hit that repay button, okay, and as soon as I executed my trade on the sell side, it first paid back what I borrowed from Binance, plus the interest, because notice that the interest is 0 over here as well, okay, and whatever was left got into my main account. But that's just how it sort of executes first. As soon as we execute that trade, the first thing that happens is that my interest, whatever I borrowed, gets paid back, and the rest comes into my account. It's super straightforward. It's basically trying to replicate the system that we have on other margin trading exchanges where things happen automatically behind the scenes. All you have to do is fill out the trade. All you have to do is put on the trade, close the trade. That's all you have to do. The thing with Binance is that there are various ways to do it. Now, this is the automatic way that I've shown you in terms of actually taking your long and closing your long. Okay, now there are ways you can do it manually. The way you do it manually is first you borrow your BTC. Okay, if you hit this borrow button, it says borrow up here. Okay, now you'll borrow how much ever BTC that you want, how much ever the exchange will allow you to borrow depending on the margin that you have on your account. Okay, and then people would usually go on to their exchange. Now in this time, guys, and the amount of time I've taken to borrow, go into my margin exchange and select the coin, make sure that I have all the right tabs selected, put on my trade. You've missed your bid. You don't want to be missing your trades. You want to make sure that everything happens automatically. The way you do that is first transfer margin into your account, get onto your exchange, okay, hit that borrow button, and then fill out the details of your trade. Make sure you're doing the drill, margin, limit, or market, depending on what you want, and put in the details. But make sure you have that borrow tab selected. That way everything happens in real time. You're not wasting time in between. That's key, okay? Especially when it comes to margin trading. You want to make sure that you get a good bid in, okay? So you don't want to be wasting time in the middle. So these are the key things that you want to keep in mind when trading on the Binance exchange. Make sure you automate the process for yourself. Binance lets you do that. However, it is not intuitive. Okay, it's not intuitive. There are various ways to do things, and you just want to make sure that you're going through the easiest route. Okay, and this is how you take a long on the Binance exchange. Now in the next video, I'm going to show you how to take a short. Okay, so stay tuned.